All right, hello, welcome today, guys, for the part 2 of this video recap session for this day, guys. This video that you're watching currently at this moment will be covering a how to use Spyglass, our methodology and approach to this game, Delta Gamma, talking also about our backtesting feature and all the other features available on the site and all the available features that are going to come in the coming weeks and coming months to spyglassedge.com for our premium users, guys. So without further ado, let's get right into the video today. So one of the first things you'll notice if you go and sign up, there are two plans. We have an essential plan and a premium plan, guys. If you sign up for the essential, you basically get access to all the indices that we have currently available. So you get access to SPY, SPX, QQQ, IWM, Dow Jones, ETF, and I believe the NDX, right? And there is no backtesting available, unfortunately, as that is only mainly due to server space for our premium users. So only premium users get to do backtesting. But Essential basically gets you sort of started, right? We also added a 3-day trial for you guys that are wanting to explore our product. We don't believe in adding a 7-day trial, as we believe people are going to definitely take advantage of that and definitely abuse the system a little bit for sure. So we did increase it from 1 to 3 days, just so you guys know. So if you aren't certain that if you're ready to take the step into Spyglass, guys, and in our private group and stuff, you can now sort of play around with it for about 3 days or so. Anyways, and then our premium program, or our premium package, basically gives you all the current features that are available right now: backtesting, equities, all indices, and access to the Discord private group, so where I'm live pretty much every single day, talking about trading ideas, approaches for the day, what's on the watch list for today, what to expect for the day. Also, even free education on the day too, guys, and talking about Gamma, Delta, and just anything you want to. I'm always there for free questions and concerns and everything, so it's definitely a lot of perks for sure. Talking about the site now, let's give it a nice rundown of how to exactly use Spyglass, guys. So if you go and sign up, one of the first things you go to at the top right corner of your page on spyglassedge.com is you'll see a little My or Spyglass Access little thing. If you click on that, it'll generate a link. If you click on a button, it'll say like go to Spyglass charting or something, and it'll give you 3 drop downs, a single use, a 2x1 use, and a 2x2 use. I would show you, but then I'd have to get out of this. I just want to keep it on this for now. And then anyways, it'll take you here, right? You click on one of the links and it'll take you to one of these pages. As you can currently see, I have it on the 2x2 layout, which basically gives me up to 4 tickers that I want to be watching at the current moment. If you notice in the top left over here, guys, you can click on these little fun buttons up here. This is our single layout. Whoa, isn't that kind of cool? If you click on that, it will take you immediately to our single layout. If you click on the next one, it'll take you immediately to our 2x1 layout, letting you see 2 tickers at once. And then my personal favorite, the 2x2 layout, allowing you access to have up to 4 different things on the screen at once, guys. Really, really, really cool. To access backtesting and to go back throughout the day and test, guys, we have talked about this many, many times in previous videos if you go back and watch, but let me remind you once again. This is a button over here called Follow Time. Follow Time is very self-explanatory. If you have this button turned on, as it says Follow Time is on, as it says right now, if you try to drag and drop on the screen, see how I'm trying to drag and go backwards in time like this, like, oh, show me the previous day, it will continuously keep snapping to the most recent live price, which is currently right now 5 p.m. Eastern or 5:21 p.m. Eastern time. If I turn this off, you will be able to navigate back like this freely without having it snap. Really cool, right? Very straightforward and very simple. To access Delta and Gamma levels on the day, guys, you will do if you are on PC. So if you're using a Microsoft Windows computer, hover your mouse like this, make sure follow time is off. Take your mouse over to the specific area and time that you want to go back and back test, maybe because you want to see the option flow or the Delta/Gamma levels of the day. Hold Control, so hold down Control and just left click on your mouse. Just like this. You see how I'm just kind of going over these candles like this, guys, nice and slowly, and it's bringing me to the live Delta and live Gamma snapshot with the live Delta impact strikes of that exact moment, and the live option volume strikes as well too that are trading in terms of premium value. This is premium, and this is the Delta back, and I'll get into these in a little bit here. But just like this, guys, nice and slow, nice and easy, so you can see crystal clear. See how the Delta lines, so these are the Delta lines, these are the Gamma lines. See how everything is just kind of like changing over time and just snapping me to a new candle. So that is how you would access being able to go back freely throughout the day, and then of course you can just drag and click the little thing right here to kind of go forward in time. If you drag these over here, you can also go backwards as well too. Very straightforward, very simple. Now, how do you access backtesting? Well, guys, to access backtesting, as you can see, you see these little buttons here that say day, hour, day. If you click on this, it'll take you to the previous day. And if you scroll down a little bit, you can see the current day that I'm on. So this is 2-4, which unfortunately there is no data for this day as the market is closed. So I want to go back another day. I want to go back another day. Oh, here we go, 2-2. And let's say I want to back test SPY, because Apple's kind of a really boring sort of stock. So SPY's kind of boring. So let's say we want to back test SPY here. So let me return this off all the time off. Let me go back a day. Let me go back another day and a last day over here. So now I'm on 2-2. I can use the scroll wheel that I have on my mouse to sort of increase the width and length. So if I use the scroll wheel over here while my mouse cursor is on this chart, as you guys can see, it will basically zoom in and out. It'll make the chart longer. And if I go over here and use the scroll wheel, see how it can kind of condense the chart of the day and make the time also uncondensed as well too. So if I want to see, what really happened over here, I just take my little mouse over here and just use the scroll wheel that I have on it, and it will just go as much into this sort of area that it possibly can. And if I use it to sort of zoom back out a little bit, it'll kind of bring back the day. And if my mouse is over here, it's the opposite. As you can see, it'll get a lot more thinner like this in terms of length. Oop, can't lose it that way. And if I just scroll it the other way, it'll get wider. We do have features and updated versions of this coming. We do understand that it is a big pain in the butt right now for Mac users that are using a trackpad. It is extremely sensitive. We 100% agree with that, and we have updates and features coming to improve this drastically, guys. Trust me. So this is no longer going to be super sensitive the way it is right now at the current moment. We just have it's just on our to-do list, right? And I believe it's the same thing over here on options volume. Yes, this has the same property as this chart just down here in terms of making things wider or tighter, as you can see. So to back tests, once again, sort of following up back on that. This is 2-2, so this would be last Friday. If I want to go back in time and see what the delta situation was, what the gamma situation was, what the option flow situation was, what the detailed option situation was per, a certain section, it's very simple. If you're on PC, just hold down Control, so CTRL. You can find it at the bottom left of your keypad. That is CTRL, just like that. And do a nice little mouse click, just like this. And as you can see, whatever area that you want to see and snap to, it will show up in load for that area. And right now, guys, we also have this only set to the minute chart, which will also be getting an update in the future, guys. We will be adding in the 1, 5, 10, and 15 for our users that want sort of a more longer time frame period for maybe possibly swing trading and price action trading as well too. We will be definitely getting that in there. But as you can see, so like if I wanted to start here pretty much at market opening bell, if I wanted to see what the information and the data was for this exact day right here at this exact moment, it'll show me what the deltas were at that current moment, what the gammas were, what the option flow trades were coming in within this exact moment, and what the premium of those option trades coming in were over here. It's a really cool feature. You can use this and go back as far as we have data for. So I think right now you can actually go back something like 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 months. I'm actually not entirely sure how far you can go back, but as you can see, the list just goes on and on. So let me actually snap over here to follow time to come up with the most live data for today. So that's sort of our backtesting feature of how to use follow time, how to use our drop-down window to just select whatever stock or ticker that you're looking for. Very simple, very straightforward. Let's get into the charting now. So in terms of the charting, as I zoom in here a little bit so you can kind of like really see this stuff, what are these bars that are sticking out? You guys are probably really curious about what these bars are. On the left-hand side, this is our gamma. So these are our gamma theoretical amounts that we are using to calculate the gamma impact and the gamma hedges. As you can see, it creates a very, sorry, we just got a nice quick server refresh there. My apologies. Anyways, let me just go back to where we were. Cool. Hey, sweet. Here we go. So as you can see here, guys, I'm on today, so 2-5. This represents the gamma in the current marketplace at the current exact moment in time that I snap back to. Let's start here at 6:30 and just look at the gamma here. This is our gamma, and this is our delta impact, guys. Gamma is a interesting sort of misunderstood concept that at least I believe that a lot of flow websites and a lot of people definitely do not have necessarily on their side. Gamma, in the most simplest terms, and the way that we look at over here, guys, in the Spyglass sort of methodology, is gamma is this unpredictable magnet in the marketplace when you are looking for directional based ideas. If you want to be a bull, what we say is, okay, where's the gamma, right? What level are you targeting to the upside for being a bull on this specific day, right? And it can also describe an environment. So as you can see here, we have some pretty mixed gamma, right, at these levels. This is more so negative gamma, with higher levels kind of being positive gamma, right? Negative gamma describes a very volatile market environment. Not necessarily a bearish environment, just a very volatile market environment. And volatility, guys, the real definition of what volatility actually is movement, especially in terms of the stock market, movement that goes up and down, right? So movement that's going up and movement that's also going down. That is volatility, quote unquote movement. Volatility is not just, oh, the market's only going straight down, right? Especially on a day-to-day term for day traders, right? Because we're all trying to day trade here. We're not trying to look at the market from a 10-year perspective, right? So that's negative gamma. Negative gamma just means there's more volatility. And what we tend to see in negative gamma environments are dealers will sell low, so they will intensify market movements to the downside, and dealers will also buy back high, so they will also intensify movements back to the upside. That's why gamma, in our humble opinion, is actually not the best indicator to sort of understand day trades and where to take sort of these bullish or bearish bets in the marketplace. It's deeply misunderstood, and unfortunately, it's extremely oversaturated with just about every group out there that's trying to say, oh, gamma here, gamma there, gamma this, gamma that, and unfortunately, it just doesn't do the job that traders are looking for it to do. Delta, on the other hand, in simplest terms, is directional. We can use delta to place and take trades based on a sort of directional bet, right? Which is what every day trader's biggest, deepest problem and biggest wish in this game. Where do I buy and where do I sell, right? That's where delta comes into play, right? So delta is directional, gamma is like a magnet. So these two combined would essentially mean something like this. Let's say we want to be bulls on SPY for the day. So we would look to be buying at where there's very strong delta. In this case, it would be 490, and I'll get into our theories on delta here in a minute. And we would be looking to target wherever gamma is to the upside, right? So if we're buying at 490 based on delta, we would target maybe 493, or let's pretend 495, because that's where all the main source of gamma is in a bullish move. Does that make sense? So we use delta as an entry / a directional bet, and we use gamma as a target / exit spot because of its uncontrollable nature. Essentially, guys, gamma is unpredictable because of a lot of different factors. Gamma can either be a magnet and resistance, support, a pin. Sometimes we see gamma squeezes versus delta, which tends to be a lot more directional in nature. So delta is just one of those guys where it's like, hey, if it tells me to buy here at 490, then I'm buying at 490. It's just that simple. Versus delta or gamma saying, oh, well, there's a lot of gamma here at this, 493 level. Okay, so I'm going to target 493, and I'm not going to try to put through the stress of, okay, is it negative gamma? Is it positive gamma? Is there going to be a pin? Is there going to be a gamma squeeze? So I'm just going to use it as an exit liquidity spot. And from consistent results over consistent results, guys, we continuously see these trading ideas work out really just to perfection. Today being a great example of using delta as an entry and gamma as an exit. So that's gamma versus delta, just in simplest terms, right? You'll also notice that there's this little window that keeps popping out here of information. This window basically gives you the numerical value of these delta levels and these gamma levels, and also the volume. These little bars down here are representing the volume coming in, guys, on the ticker that we're looking at per minute. So in this area here, there's some decent volume over here. If you go and look over here, as you can see, the time is 7:36. The volume coming into this area right here that I have highlighted on the chart, I think it was right. Let's pretend let's use this one. We have 642,000 SPY shares that are trading here at 709. The delta at this exact level, which represents the 492 level, right? Because that's the delta what's being gathered. As you can see, calls are on the left, puts are on the right over there. It is 537,000 positive delta versus negative 351,000, and same thing with gamma, right? You can see the gamma amounts there. So what do these amounts represent in the market? I'm sure is what you're probably wondering right now. Well, gamma, I think the actual definition of gamma is the hedging notional value amount per 1% move, either up or down, in the underlying asset that dealers need to theoretically have hedged or be hedging, right? That's why gamma is a little tricky. This is the sort of theoretical amount of notional value that's out there that, needs to be hedged or is properly being hedged or, needing to be dealt with or something, right? That's basically, I think, the definition of gamma. Delta, you will not find out there because delta is a personal creation of mine, something that I personally discovered and kind of came up with about 2.5 years ago, where it is a theoretical amount. And it essentially represents the theoretical size of shares that dealers and or market makers will either buy, sell, or have already bought slash sold and will defend at a certain level. Does that make sense? This is these numbers on deltas, right? So this, 537,000 and this negative 351,000 at 492. These levels essentially represent how many shares a dealer will buy or sell based on that delta pressure there from those options that are sitting in the marketplace, or have bought slash sold and are going to defend to a certain side. Okay, so if we see something like this level here, let's snap to this, right? So when did SPY actually get to 490 or very close to it today? I think we actually got down here. And something really cool, guys, about deltas is, as you can see how as I'm just holding down control and click. Oh, by the way, for Mac users, it would be shift click. So if you're trying to find control on your Mac and keyboard and you're like, where the heck is this control? It's shift click. So just hold down shift and just click with your little mouse on the Mac for Mac users, guys. So as you can see how the deltas are constantly just shifting and changing. See how these bars are going up and down on both sides, gammas and deltas, guys, for the day. We have this up right now so that you can see the delta pressure as we get to these levels. So obviously, as you can see earlier in the day, for 490, if we got there, there's over 1 million shares just based on call pressure alone that a dealer is going to buy on SPY. That is the theoretical amount of shares that a dealer is going to come in and purchase SPY when it reaches 490 at that level. That's why delta is directional, because our theory with deltas is this is how many shares a dealer is possibly going to buy and also possibly going to maybe sell around that area. And as you can clearly see, there's a huge imbalance to the buy side, right? And because trading is just this simple imbalance game of demand versus supply, if you have over 1 million shares of SPY trying to buy in at 490 versus only 472,000 that are trying to sell from a dealer, so these are the guys that run this game. These are the guys that have all the liquidity out there, the billions and trillions and, liquidity just available at any given moment in time. If they're going to buy this much, what do you think that's going to possibly do to price? Well, just like any other basic law of demand and supply, it's probably going to move price up, right? So you see how simple this sort of theory of delta actually is? With a reading of something like 1 million at this level, that basically tells me that that's the sort of theoretical amount that a dealer is going to come in and buy, right? That's why delta is so powerful as an indicator by itself, because you can see this and say, okay, well, if they're going to buy that many shares, then I'm going to buy with them, and you're likely going to see your win come in because the market's going to likely gravitate up. So that's delta and that's gamma. Really simple, really straightforward to use. Gamma is a little bit more complicated to trade with because of its unpredictable nature. I feel like if you want to learn more advanced gamma level concepts, I would probably recommend joining the Discord group, and I can sit here for hours and days and teach you guys all about gamma. Delta, on the other hand, is a lot more straightforward. As you can clearly see, it's just directional, right? There's only 2 theories about it. When I sort of discovered this thing and kind of started experimenting with it and playing with it, I started seeing a very large correlation with massive amounts of liquidity around these levels. So that's how I was able to sort of formulate and build up the formula for delta trading. I'll give you a great example here today on UNH. So UNH was one of those trades that we were looking to get going long at this 500 level. Because, we got to refresh it here. Oh, and this is a little refresher too. So see this little refresh thing button here, guys? If you're never getting the deltas to load or the option flow to load, just click this little button and it will refresh it on the server and you'll get all the things to come back in. This is a bug. This is a problem that we are dealing with right now, as you guys can see. So it is being dealt with and handled, and we are going to have improvements on this in the future. So anyways, check out UNH here, guys. Oh, that's why I can't go back. Follow time is turned on. So as you can see, UNH was definitely on my watch list today, guys, to be buying it at 500, as this was a very strong delta level sticking out. But a lot of you guys are asking, that looks visually great, but it's only 74,000 positive shares and versus, negative 16,000 negative shares. Why would you want to buy that? Well, remember too, what is the average volume traded per minute per day on something like UNH? It's very low volume, guys. This is a very illiquid stock to be trading. So forcing a dealer's hand with about 74,000 shares to be purchased at 500, that's pretty phenomenal, right? Especially as you can see here on the little volume indicator. See how the little volume is? You got like 8,000 shares traded here, 6,000 shares traded here. Not a lot of shares trading in. So as you can see here, I'm using the control click, or if you're on Mac, shift click. As you can see, when we start to go down to this area, it's still held very nicely, as this is a level that dealers are likely going to buy from, right? And if you zoom in a little bit more, you can even see the amount of liquidity started to pick up around this area in terms of shares being traded. So that's a good rundown of delta, guys. That's what these delta levels are, is they are my sort of theoretical value that dealers and market makers are either going to buy / sell at these current levels. And as you guys can see, look at how perfect that really is on something like UNH today. So obviously this theory, which has been tested and used live and back tested for years, but we've used it live for about 2 years. So we do have about 2.5 years of live data testing that we can use with this, that I can at least claim for myself about these deltas. And it just works really, really, really well, really perfectly. So obviously at this point in time, guys, because we've used it for so long, we associate these kind of moves, like these instant sort of buy-ups from these levels, from dealers and market participants that are coming in with a lot of big money to hedge the delta that's at these levels, guys. Really fascinating thing. So that's a quick rundown on delta versus gamma. Hopefully this chart now makes sense. Over here, let's talk about this options volume $ indicator thing that we have up. This is essentially a premium tracking tool that we have, and it also corresponds with this option volume strikes. These two tools are essentially just tracking premium from option trades that are trading in certain areas. So just like using control click or shift click to go back in time, guys, to test out these deltas and these gammas, you can also use it to go back in time to test to see what these option trades were. So if I want to see, hey, well, what's this, $300,000 that's going into these puts? Oh, it was these 495s. We give the details here, and whether it's calls and whether it's puts. And as you can see, if you just hover your mouse over it, it's 495s. So that tells me about $263,000 of this candle that traded in were these 495 puts. Okay, cool. And then if you want to take it a step further, we will have features available where you can probably double click on this and see whether they were traded at the bid, at the ask, or in between the spread. It's going to be a really cool feature in the future, guys, that we're going to be adding in. However, that's all that this is. This is just a premium tracking tool, and we've talked about this many times in depth, guys, on how to use it in terms of day trading. It shows up more efficiently on the indices, and sometimes we note this very odd and very strong correlation with market movements. Sometimes what you'll see a lot, guys, is either an imbalance will be going in on calls or an imbalance will be going in more on puts throughout the day, and the market will gravitate that way that you're seeing an imbalance on. Sometimes you see these giant clusters around these very strong pivots in the marketplace. A great example is right here. You see a very sort of big player come in and trade a put right here on the very short-term contracts, and then see almost an immediate pivot later on throughout the day. This could be a big trader coming in and selling puts. Even though it may not show up necessarily on the delta impact here, this could be a massive put order that's selling, right? Causing a big smart trader to say, ooh, I need to get out of these puts. I'm anticipating a reversal turnaround. This over here is the delta impact indicator, guys. The delta impact indicator is very self-explanatory, very straightforward. This is the theoretical amount that is coming in from option trades. So these are amounts that are not coming in from option trades, guys. These are amounts that are predetermined through the open interest market and through other various means to calculate these delta levels. This is coming in from live trades. So all that fun and nice option flow, guys, that's printing throughout the day, that's what this is. Very simple and easy to read and understand. If it's positive, it's bullish. If it's negative, it's bearish. Green represents calls, red represents puts, and this third line represents the combination of both of these guys combined. So if we were looking at something like SPY, because SPY always has really, really, really beautiful option flow that it sort of gives on the day. As you can see here, guys, when calls, so when the green line goes up like this, right, this is representing positive delta, right? So the only way that we can get positive delta in this business is very simple. You either have calls purchasing at or above the ask, right? So calls are likely slamming the ask or above the ask. That would be leading to positive delta. So this is a bullish sort of look. And as you can see here, very, very massive 0DT call buying did come in today around this area near the bottom, possibly helping fuel it to the higher side because this is a massive amount of delta. Look at all these positive deltas. Whoa, that's a lot of delta. Same thing goes for puts, guys. If the line goes up, how do you get positive delta from puts? Well, it's very simple. You get positive delta from puts from selling puts. Because remember, guys, if it's positive, it's bullish. If it's negative, it's bearish. So if you're seeing the red line go up, that's obviously meaning that it's bullish. That means puts are probably selling. So that means they're trading at the bid or below the bid, right? Very bullish in nature. And that's it. Very straightforward, very simple. And this over here, the delta impact strikes, this will essentially tell you what the strikes are over a 5-minute rolling period. So this is building up every 5 minutes and then resetting and then going on to the next 5 minutes and telling you essentially what the data is coming in. So if I'm wanting to know, like, all right, what were the options that were being purchased in this area, in this zone, to add all this positive delta. That's essentially what this will be telling you and showing you, right? So this is the premium amount. Oh, we can see somebody's trading $268,000 worth of 0DT calls right here. They were the 490s. They're adding in about 88,000 positive deltas, which is a decent amount of 0DTs, guys, being purchased and picked up. And just over time, as you can see, just more and more. Ooh, look at this area right here. Very large positive deltas being added in. And all that these deltas represent, guys, is the theoretical hedging amount that has to come in at these sort of levels, right? So it's the same thing over here, right? If there's a million positive deltas sitting there at 490, and if our theory is, oh, dealers are going to buy a million plus shares at this level, it's the same thing over here. To hedge these trades, right, which would be 92,000, and this one is about 70,000, that would essentially mean that dealers would have to then buy 92,000 shares of SPY and 69,000 shares of SPY also here to hedge this one. So that's a total of like 150,000 shares of SPY that have to be purchased, which is therefore bullish in the market. Does that make sense? Do you guys see like the sort of code that I'm following on that? So very, very, very simple, guys. That's what delta impact represents. That's what these stable delta lines impact and represent. The formula that I have for this one is actually quite complicated and a little complex. It takes a lot into calculating these levels. It's not nearly as simple that a lot of these other DEX calculations are. This is actually a completely different approach with DEX. But hopefully that makes sense, guys. I think I covered everything in today's video. Let's see. We talked about the delta. We talked about the gamma. We talked about option flow trades that are coming in. If you guys decide to join the group and sign up, you will get a rundown, intense rundown version of this, which is essentially the same, but it goes more into practical use of how to trade it, how to look for possible setups, what to look out for, And remember, guys, one of the biggest pieces of advice that I can also give as well too, or just from an opinion point of view, is let the market tell you what it wants to tell you or what it wants to do, right? So if we're opening in a positive delta sort of situation, or even like kind of here later in the day, and it's nothing but positive deltas, or even kind of looking at IWM, right? Let's talk about the IWM trade here real quick, because I'm certain a lot of people are curious and sort of wondering why this trade was so perfect and beautiful. Well, once again, just like anything else, guys, we use deltas as entries and gammas as exits. We're looking for these massive sort of delta areas where we can anticipate a dealer response to come in and move markets to a certain side. I think IWM is perfect. All day long, we were watching this nice 193 level on the 0DT market for SPY. Oh, that's right. That's the other thing too. SPY, QQQ, SPX, all the indices are tracking 0DT stuff. That's how we have it set up, because they are the most immediately hedged options, and they are beautiful for day trading. And all equities are tracking the most recent Friday contracts, guys. So equities track Fridays, indices track 0DTs. In the future, we are going to have a feature update that is going to allow you to switch between zeros, Fridays, and even OPEX contracts, but that is coming in the future, guys. So you're going to have to bear with us and be patient on that. Anyways, IWM is a great trade rundown, because obviously, as you can see, once we got to this 193 level, our theory is dealers are going to come in and sell, as you can see here, 500,000 shares of IWM. There was a confirmation of a massive amount of shares trading here, about 310,000, as you can see on our website. And the trade goes and works really aggressively, targeting that first sort of gamma checkpoint as we're going down here. So as you can see, so it's just kind of going through time. If you're looking for a target, let's go for 192. There's your first gamma target. Perfect. You get out right there at 192, because gamma is very unpredictable, right? Whereas delta, as you can see, even a second time around, they went to 193, and once again, another massive reaction because of that negative delta. So over time, hopefully you guys will start to understand this more and more. Hopefully today's video was extremely helpful, guys. It is definitely the longest video, so I want to be respectful of your guys' time. Hopefully you guys won't have any questions, but if you do, please just always send a question by, guys, and I will see you guys out there trading tomorrow. Take care.